Hello, and welcome to Inside Out, the show where we turn everything, and I do mean everything, inside out. So put your feet up, grab your glass of wine, and get your girls on the line while we get ready to turn everything inside out. On today's topic, a teenager says they're ready to have sex. How do you handle it? Well, I had a few viewers write in, and the statements, the letters were so crazy that I thought that this was a very good, interesting topic to dive into. How would you handle it? Hmm. Well, we can all remember back when we were little and we thought we were ready to have sex, and maybe we can take I don't know, maybe a moment to read a page out of our own book before we decide on how we're going to handle it, what we're going to say, when we're going to say it. And boy, does it depend on if it's a boy or a girl. In my opinion, from a single mother standpoint, it depended for me. My son was, I don't know, maybe 13. No, I want to say maybe he was 15. And we were walking out the door, and he hit me with that. Now, I've always told them that they have an open door policy to come talk to me about everything. But I wasn't ready. We're walking out the door, he was walking behind me, and lo and behold, all of a sudden, all I hear is, "Mommy, I think I'm ready to have sex." Oh, I didn't know how to handle it. Well, if I may, I had no earthly idea where I was going with that. Obviously, the trip to leaving the house at that point was off. So, it's a good thing I had my two guardian angels, my daughters. They're both older than him, one by, what, 3 years, 4 years, and the other by 6 years? I don't remember, something like that. Anyway, they were both there. So, where I didn't know what to say, I had one who's an extremist, and she did something that I will tell you about in a moment. But the oldest one, she decided to sit down with him and me and talk about it. And it didn't seem like she was getting through, so she discussed it with him, telling him about those girls and, you know, the things that we would want to say. She and I together broke it down, talking about girls and how pretty girls have sexually transmitted diseases. They have the nastiness. I was uncomfortable. I wasn't quite sure how to say what I needed to say, so I was winging it at that point. Anyway, so she proceeds to tell him about how the girls may not smell just because they have a disease, or how you can easily get a girl pregnant, and at this age you're not ready for that, and reminding him, we tackled a lot of things that at least I thought would have gotten through to him. All his dreams that may be out of the window if there's an oops moment, and just a few things that while winging it, you just, off the top of your head, whatever comes, comes. And obviously the connection wasn't being made. I was glad that he was open with me. I was glad he was honest with me. But as much as I asked him to be open and honest, is as much as I wasn't prepared. Remember, he's 15. I don't even know what age is an appropriate age for boys to start having sex. And if that is an appropriate age, am I to go ahead and give him permission? And if I am going to give him permission, am I going to give him permission to, I don't know, go to a hotel, do it here? I don't know. I mean, I was a single mother. This was my first time having to deal with this from a boy standpoint anyway. So I'm fumbling for words. I'm fumbling for thoughts, and usually I'm not at a loss for words, as you can see For those of you who know me, you've always known I'm not at a loss for words. Anyway, that was a very interesting moment. And yet and still, it seemed like we weren't getting through. And then my youngest daughter, she's his older sister too. She would happen to have been on the computer at the time and started pulling up all these pictures and called him over and started showing him what all these STDs look like. And the fact that all these facts about that the internet contain about sex and the fact that some of what we were telling him, it was being backed up by text and I don't know, just oh my gosh, this is even still uncomfortable for me now that I'm thinking about it. And he's older. He's okay, I won't say how much older he is because then you'll be able to date me, but he's older now and he's of age. And so it's still uncomfortable as a single mother. You're not prepared. Nobody prepares you for these things. You don't know what you're supposed to say, when you're supposed to say it. So that's one of the reasons that this topic, when I read all these letters that were coming in, I thought this topic was very, very important for me to share, at least my experience. Hopefully it can help somebody. But I didn't even know some of these diseases existed, or some of these urban names for some of these diseases and so on and so forth. So I was getting a little lesson of my own, you know. But yes, the pictures were raw and uncut. So needless to say, it she's, like I told you earlier, she's the extremist, and she was the one that was able to get through to him because she then took it to a point where she was like, you know, most of the time guys have sex and or people have sex, I'm sorry, and the lights are off. So you don't know what you're about to dive into. It's an uncomfortable situation if you're having sex for the first time. So again, you don't know what you're about to dive into. So you don't know if there's any bumps or bruises or open cuts or open wounds or anything else of that nature that may indicate to you that there's a situation going on that you may be, I don't know, able to have an opportunity to back out at the last minute or whatever the case may be. But ladies and gentlemen, I am not going to lie. This was a very, very eye-opening experience. And I really and truly thought at that moment that I was just going to lose my breath. My heart was racing and I could not stop. I didn't know how I was going to stop him because obviously, being a mother, all I could think about is those little nasty heifers that wants to get with my son and take his little V card. Well, how do you tell him to have an open door policy and then you don't have the answer? Well, I'll tell you what, ladies. Start getting yourself prepared, especially you single mothers who have to do this on your own. Get yourself prepared. Educate yourself ahead of time because that was not a very nice place to be, to not have the answers as to, do you say no, just outrightly no? How do you know when he's ready versus when he's not? And does he understand the responsibilities that come along with having sex? And the fact that it is not just an open and shut door as you get up off of the girl and you take a shower and you wash off all the evidence. It's over, for a girl. Then the next thing you have to deal with, especially girls, not only girls, but especially girls, I had to talk to him about the emotional standpoint of it, because from an emotional standpoint of it, one, you don't even know if she's a virgin yourself, and if she is a virgin, then at that point, what do you do when you've taken a girl's V card? Because girls, if we all remember back when we were younger, he takes our V card and our whole world is him all of a sudden. Now, does that mean we are his whole world? No, a lot of times not. So our feelings get hurt and we start to suffer depression unnecessarily because it may or may not have been a good experience. So, sexuality, having sex at any age, but especially at an early age, there's a lot of responsibility that comes along with it, not just preparing them for the possibility of having a child. So you put on a condom and you tell them to strap on a condom and don't ever go in without one. And yeah, that's fine. But we don't talk about the emotional standpoint of it. And in talking about the emotional standpoint of it, you have to, I don't know, if you don't have daughters of your own, then you have to definitely pull from your own experience from when it was your turn. But anyway, I'd like to hear from some of you guys. Let me know in the comments below exactly what you think about